6 years ago, there was an idiot with bad hair who sat down in front of a webcam and was like, "All right, I'm going to start talking." Didn't even prep a topic. Just sat down and was like, "Okay, what should I talk about?" Started talking about this company called Square and the idea of separate teams and companies and all sorts of stupid crap like that. Nobody was actually paying attention to him. I think a grand total of like 5 people watched that video, something like that. 6 years later, here I am. I've improved my viewership significantly. Nowadays, I have closer to 50 people watching at a time. 50! So, like, 10. That's a factor of 10. That's pretty impressive when you think about it. I mean, how many other people could say that they did 10 times their business in 6 years? Ah! So, I don't have a game plan for today. I actually racked my brain trying to decide what would be a good game to play for the 6th anniversary, but ultimately I decided just to go ahead and talk. That's what my show's kind of known for anyways, isn't it? I did want to give you a little bit of a state of the show, kind of an update. Actually, I have my notes here just to make sure I don't forget anything. Obviously, we just concluded the Final Fantasy Lorerunner proper remake. And I don't know about you guys, I was pretty satisfied with how that turned out. I think that was pretty decent. So, woo, that's done. That's dealt with. Life is good. And now that that's done, we can go ahead and say, rather definitively, I think, that I am slightly better than I used to be. But it was very successful and very happy. And obviously, we are going to be continuing Lorerunners in the future. Probably not for a bit. We are going to be rather busy for the rest of the year because we've got no less than 9 premiere runs that I can think of off the top of my head that are scheduled, so including one that's starting tomorrow, literally tomorrow. So I hope you'll be there for that. But lore runs will be continuing. We have a list of potential lore runs on the forum, and already people have been donating towards some of those in order to try and get the ball rolling and the investment necessary to do something as extensive and in-depth as a lore run. So that's already started. I suppose for those of you who don't actually look at the forums or don't want to look at the forums, I'll go ahead and give you the list right now. Why not? Why not? By the way, to everyone who's actually live right now, which is Chelsea Atera, Jason Bauer, Leander Huanta, and Tyler Meyer. Hi, welcome. Thank you for actually being here. Okay, so lore runs that are on the table. Oh, and K's here too. Lore runs that are on the table. A brief Assassin's Creed lore run that would not be the entire series. That would just be Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because it is my opinion that those 3 games pretty much encapsulate the story, and there's no real need to include anything else. At most, I might include Assassin's Creed 3 onto that list. Maybe. Also, the possibility of doing a Modern Warfare lore run is at least feasible. That'll be a pretty short one. It would just be Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2, and nothing else. I'm really hesitant to add this one, but the possibility of a Deus Ex lore run exists. Pretty low on the list. A Devil May Cry lore run is possible. That would be 3 and 4. A Diablo lore run is fairly possible. That would be 2 and 3. Maybe 1, but honestly, there's not a lot of reason to play 1. An Elder Scrolls lore run is possible. That would be Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. A Half-Life lore run would be possible. That would be Half-Life and let's see, Half-Life. God, I don't remember. The Soldier one, the Cop one, and then Half-Life 2, and then Episode 1, Episode 2, and then a reading of Episode 3. What else we got here? A Legend of Zelda lore run. Obvious. A Mario RPG lore run. This is probably one of the more likely ones to happen, which is obvious. It would be the Super Mario RPG, then the Paper Marios, and then the Mario and Luigi series. A Metal Gear lore run is extremely unlikely at this particular point in time, but it is at least on the table. A Neverwinter Nights lore run, which would be Neverwinter Nights 1, and then Shadows of Untitled, Hordes of the Underdark, and then Neverwinter Nights 2 and Mask of the Betrayer. That would be that. A Star Trek Online lore run. This has actually been in the works for a while now. Honestly, one of the only things preventing me from doing an STO lore run right now is the fact that I haven't finished STO yet. And a Witcher 3 lore run, which would be going through the 3 Witcher games. Witcher 3, Witcher 3 Heart of Stone, and Hearts of Stone, and Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. The 3 Witcher games. So those are the lore runs that are at least on the table. And by the way, hello to everyone who just popped in. Takoidas, Aldir, Valvadrix, Secundus, which I'm probably saying incorrectly, because I am terrible. King Dunlop, And that's everyone, apparently. So those are all on the table as far as future lore runs, and a couple of those already have a decent amount of money put towards them, so we're likely to happen next. So this is a good time. Oh, and Blue Wolf Alex is here as well. What's up? So other games that are or other games. Sorry. So let's talk about some other stuff. And Zephyr Rose. People just keep streaming in here. We're up to like 10 people now. I'm telling you, I went from 5 to 10. Yeah. Hey, sure you. So explorations are kind of being discontinued. Actually, I think I'll wait on talking about that. Let's wait on talking about that. Let's talk about the next major stream that's planned. I'm not 100% sure when it's going to happen, but we are going to be continuing the Pokemon Chill Run series and going through with X and Y next. Hang on just a second. Oh, God. I had to go and buy a new copy of X and Y just to stream it. I already own this game, but I own it in a digital format on the wrong 3DS. So I had to go buy a new physical copy so I could put it into the 3DS that has the capture card so I could stream it. But nevertheless, X and Y copy procured for the Pokemon Chill Run to go through that. Obviously, we'll be naming Pokemon after viewers as we always do, and hopefully having fun with that. That was pretty popular. We'll probably be doing a vote to decide which type of run we do, because of course we will. I'll just go and let you guys know, as I always will, that the possibility of doing a Nuzlocke wrong is not even on the table. It's not happening. Don't ask. And also, hello to Cloud of the Stars and this Roxymus guy. I don't know who that guy is. And Corwin, hey, what's up? So that's probably the next major stream that's planned, not counting the dozens of premiere runs. If you've been looking at the website, you'll notice only 3 premiere runs are actually scheduled right now. That's because I wasn't 100% sure when the other ones are happening. But let me make this clear. I do plan to do another playthrough of XCOM 2 with the expansion on it. I'm just not sure when. That will most likely be happening once I finish rounding up September. Or October, excuse me. October, wrong month. That's October, right? Hang on. Yeah. So, once I finish October, which I need to finish doing my rumination on Darksiders, Saints Row 2, and Valkyria, V Chronicles, then we'll go ahead and probably start the Kefka, a Shadow Machine. We'll be starting the XCOM 2, viewers get to be people thing. So that's the next couple things. Obviously, I do intend to continue the in-depth reviews, and I do intend to continue the Keeping Perspective reviews. I'll tell you right now, the next Keeping Perspective I intend to do is about a game you may have heard of called Chrono Trigger. And the in-depth reviews, I'll go ahead and tell you the next game I plan to do for that is Super Mario RPG, followed most likely by FF9. Hi, Formosan. Hi, Psychotic. So, after that, so coming sometime in the first or second week of September next month, I will be doing a podcast with Dark Pixel Gaming. I still don't actually know a lot of details about that, so I'm a little nervous, but we'll see how that goes. Multiplayer Sundays will be continuing. Actually, no, they won't be continuing, will they? Multiplayer Sundays might continue. That's still maybe. That's building up to a point. I want to save this point for last because I want as many people live as possible before I discuss that. Okay. And hey, Sith Lord Arg. Sorry. Shoutouts to Argentina for being awesome in all things. Let's see. So I talked about that. I can't talk about that yet. I talked about that. Starting this Friday, we will never be doing ruminations again, ever, for about 6 weeks, I think, something like that. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 weeks. For the next 6 weeks, there will be no ruminations going live on Friday because of the fact that they will be doing something else completely different. That is something called Lorewalker Theater. Now, those of you who are longtime viewers of this show may remember Lorerunner Theater, which I have since rebranded for reasons I'll talk about in a second, where I sat down and did all of the voice acting for a particular game. It was always intended to be a more long-term project, long-term idea. I wanted to keep doing Lorewalker or Lorerunner theaters. The only thing that made me stop was because basically nobody cared, like nobody was watching it. I think I had a grand total of one person ever tell me that they really liked the Lorerunner Theater section. But I've always wanted to go back and finish it, just for myself, if nothing else. I know that's selfish, and I apologize, but I really wanted to finish the the Paper Mario 2 Lorerunner Theater section. So when I got the affiliate status with Twitch, I swore that I would finish Paper Mario 2 Lorewalker Theater, or Lorerunner Theater, whatever. I'm just going to call it Lorewalker Theater. It's been rebranded. I swore I would finish Lorewalker Theater if I got affiliate status, and I did, and I am a man of my word, and it is now done. I, in fact, finished rendering Episode 8, or actually, it's Episode 9, but Chapter 8 yesterday. It's completely done. It's all ready to go and uploaded and going to be... It's actually being proofed right now, so I suppose I shouldn't say it's 100% done. I spent like 3 hours working on the credits of Chapter 8 alone, so I hope it's at least tolerable for you guys. Even though it's a little amateur, I mean, it's hard to rip sprites from a GameCube. What do you want from me? Anyways. So, that will be going live every Friday from now until the first week of October the 6th. Looking at my calendar over there. I highly encourage you to check that out. Let me go ahead and talk about why it's now Lorewalker Theater instead of Lorerunner Theater, because I don't even remember how or why. I really don't remember what started this, but somehow, in some way, the idea came into being of, well, why don't we have some viewers do voice acting as well for this? And I was like, I mean, okay. I don't remember if it was my idea or their idea or how that came about, but it started out with just a couple of people doing a couple of voices. Bragwin did a couple of voices, Roximus did a couple of voices, and I believe Deutsch did a voice in Chapter 3, which is the one that's going live this Friday. And then it just kind of snowballed after that until it got to the point where Chapter 6 has like this ridiculously huge cast list of people who are not me. And the intention is to continue doing this in the future as well. The very next game we're going to be doing a Lorewalker Theater of is Final Fantasy IX. So the idea is to be going through, recording, and having us voice the lines from FF9. We actually already have a not a cast list, excuse me, wrong thing. We already have a sign-up sheet that is live right now for anybody interested in that. And yeah, you can find out, we have a whole channel on our Discord specifically dedicated to that. There is a pinned document in that channel specifically showing the signed up sheet, all that fun stuff, so you can find that. Sign up if you're interested, but either way, I do hope you enjoy. I anticipate people will be like, "Rah!" because I'm not doing Ruminations for the next 6 weeks, but that's tough. I said I'd do this, I'm a man of my word, and I'm not doing Ruminations alongside the theater thing. Moving on. So that's that. That's the Lorewalker Theater. I am very nervous, as ever. Not because I'm worried about it being good, quite the contrary. I'm rather pleased with the results. But I'm always nervous before I do a production, you know. I did used to be in theater, believe it or not. So, next thing I want to talk about is... I guess we'll just get to it. I'm not going to get a lot of viewers today, so let's just go ahead and get into this. I was hoping for some live discussion on this matter. So yeah, the explorations are kind of discontinued. And as a consequence, the reviews are being heavily restructured. And the Multiplayer Sunday thing is kind of being lumped into it as well. See, what I want you to do, guys, this is where I want some feedback before I talk about my idea. I want you to help me out in coming up with a new name. You know, the idea, Lorerunner enjoys doesn't sound right. So I need something like that. Lorerunner has fun with. Lorerunner does this because he wants to. Lorerunner enthusing about something. Help me out, guys. I need some kind of phrase or title for what this new stream feature is basically going to be. And now I pause to take a drink. No, chill streams are kind of a different thing, although I could lump that under that. I suppose that's not a terrible idea. Lorerunner plays? Nah, not informative enough. Running past time. Let me go ahead and tell you what I mean about this, as people start mentioning ideas over there. The whole point is that I can't really justify the continuation of the exploration series, and if the explorations go away, then the reviews, by natural consequence, kind of get completely restructured. What is more likely to happen is I will only do reviews periodically of games that I do premiere runs of. In other words, rather than having a review every week, I'd have a review every time there's a game that's premiere run. There's a pretty good chance that premiere runs are going to become more common and more more present. The premier runs have been wildly successful thus far, and so I have no reason to discontinue that. They have been bringing in quite a bit of viewership, and therefore are worth the time and investment. A joy run. I actually like that, Leander. So the reviews will be switched off of explorations and onto premier runs. Premier runs will be taking a bit of prominence, and explorations. Well, let me explain this. See, I'm thinking what I'm going to do, because there's certain aspects of my stream that are hard to justify. It's legitimately difficult to justify, because everything I do, I have to think of it in a how much use I get out of the time invested. You know what I mean? It's one of the reasons why lore runs are such an infrequent thing, because it's a colossal amount of investment doing even a smaller lore run, never mind the gargantuan efforts that, like, Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft were. So, sitting down every Friday evening and doing an exploration has not really been justifying itself. Now, we've talked about this several times in the past, and the real, yes, from a business sense, exactly. And it's easy to understand why, because the explorations, if I was just to put this in reality terms, are a little bit more for me than for the show, if that makes any sense. Because I want to go and try out new games and see what's out there and experiment and it just broaden my gaming palette, you know, give more games a chance. Explorations are also the slot where I've been putting games that people donate for me to stream, of which there have been quite a few. What was that one? Expedition Viking is an excellent example of a game that someone donated for me to do an exploration stream of, and I loved it. Now it's now in the list to do a continuing stream of in the future because I really liked that. But the thing is, the whole explorations thing really is more for me than for the show, and a lot of viewers have expressed the exact same argument. Well, I don't want to watch your exploration of such and such because I don't care about that game. Now, that's logical, but that also completely ignores the whole point of what an exploration is. The whole point of an exploration is to try something new, to see if you like it, right? So the logical conclusion is to just discontinue explorations, and that was actually what I had decided several days ago. But then I got to thinking, why don't I instead dedicate the slot of time that was dedicated towards explorations, towards just stuff that I kind of want to do, and hope that you guys enjoy me enjoying something, and we'll kind of see if that works. And if it continues to have low viewership, and if it continues to be not worth the time, then we'll axe the feature entirely. So things like multiplayer stuff with you guys, which is very hard to justify, again, show-wise. Stuff like doing the exploration, stuff like just sitting down and chill running, you know, all that kind of stuff would all fall into the category of these joy runs, which I think I'm just gonna start mentally calling them that. So this joy runner section. I like that, actually. Joy runner. So that's where I'm at right now. That's what's going to happen with the explorations, which are, like I said, effectively going away. I guess I don't have much else to add to that. Thank you as ever, Leander. I think this is the second thing on my show you've named, Leander. If memory serves. I'm not actually 100% on that. Yes, it would, Takoida. I'm kidding. No, the whole, and yeah, like games I hadn't played in years, exactly right. Like if I just want to sit down and I want to play Freelancer, that would qualify as a joy run. Lounge Runner, I do kind of like Lounge Runner. I'll just be kind of like, wait, I've got it. There we go. I am now in uniform for the Lounge Runner. What? So, that's where we're at with that. I do want to keep doing multiplayer Sunday stuff. I'm not 100% sure if I will. It is, again, from a purely business perspective, it is more valuable per time in order to go ahead. Rude Runner. That's just all the wrong connotations there. It is more valuable per time to do something like a live rumination on Sundays than it is to do multiplayer Sunday. But I like doing multiplayer Sunday. I don't know about you guys. I love playing games with you on Sunday. I love sitting down and being like, all right, let's go play some HOTS, or some StarCraft 2, or some Overwatch, or, you know, whatever else is on the... I don't even remember. We've got a whole list of games. It's actually not that many. You know, I love doing that stuff. So, I enjoy that. But I still have to justify my time from a business perspective. And it's funny. If I could just talk about this for a moment. Some people have actually voiced confusion about this because they're like, you don't have a boss, Lore. Who do you have to justify this to? I am the boss. I have to justify this to the business. You know, I have to sit down and actually say this, because I don't have infinite time, right? Now, my time schedule has actually opened up significantly, thanks to certain circumstances in my real life. But yeah, no, I don't have infinite time. It's the same thing. A lot of people don't really understand this, and that's okay. It's understandable why people wouldn't comprehend this. But when you become the business, like it doesn't matter what your business is. If you decide to go out there and sit down and say, I'm going to go ahead and make a bakery, or I'm going to go ahead and make a grocery thing, or whatever, it's on you now. You don't have a boss, but all of that responsibility is now on you. You are still responsible to the business. So you still have to do things like budgeting time and budgeting money and all that fun stuff. And yeah, no, Lore Week is absolutely not being discontinued. Lore Week has been phenomenally popular and has been more than worth the time investment that goes into it. So yeah, no, Lore Week is absolutely being continued. The thing that is probably most in threat of being removed from the show is Primus, if anything, because nobody watches Primus. How many of you even know that we just finished the first main Primus campaign last week? How many of you are even aware of that fact? Yeah. I mean, honestly, that just makes my point for myself. I imagine at least a few people just said, huh? Or, what's Primus? You know, one of those two reactions. Oh, that reminds me, I need to share something that really amused me this morning. This is kind of off topic. So I was just sitting there and I'm like, you know what, okay, I'm getting ready. Updated the stream title to say 6th anniversary, and put a little thing in Discord saying, hey, I'm going to start a stream in a bit. And Django says, 6th anniversary of what? Thanks, Django. Thanks. Appreciate that. Anyways, point being that, yeah, I'm very likely to go ahead and discontinue Primus as a feature for the show, rather than, say, as a thing. Because I'm definitely going to keep doing the D&D. Oh, God! Regardless. I'm definitely doing the D&D campaign regardless. It's just, I may not put the effort and time into putting it on my show. Now, that being said, there's something in the back of my mind that I very, very, very much want to do, and is probably never going to happen. I want to get a hold of someone who is not me, who I can't afford to pay, who is willing to do, or at least, or I get to the point where I can pay them, who is willing to do some Flash animations for me, to set up some Flash videos discussing the campaign and lore of Primus. I would love to do that. I don't know Flash myself, and I certainly don't have time for it. So that's probably on the back burner, and will probably never happen. Right now, I don't have enough money to own my own place, so having the money to afford someone else is not likely to happen anytime soon. Not a complaint. Sorry. Every time I say that, I'd have to add that affix. I'm not complaining. It's fact. It is a reality fact. I do not make enough money to have my own place at the moment. So, that's something that might happen for Primus in the future. I'm surprised about that, actually, Larian. I don't hear a lot of people say, I found you through your Babylon 5 stuff. I'm going to take these off. These are heavy. If you can't tell, I just put the glasses over my other glasses, so it gets a little heavy on there. Ugh, there we go. So yeah, before we talk about anything else, I just want to ask you guys a legitimate question. How many of you have, like, when did you... Hey, little Billy, welcome to the very end of all my announcements. like, when did you start watching, I guess is really the question. Because for me, 6 years is a gargantuan amount of time. 6 years ago, my health had just started deteriorating. I didn't even know what was going on yet. I didn't realize it was actually a life-threatening problem at the time. So my health had started deteriorating. I wasn't in a good circumstance in any position. In a couple of years after that, I would actually end up getting fired from my job. Not for anything I did wrong, basically. And then my health absolutely nosedived. And you guys know I had to go in for surgery, and then I came out of the surgery, recovered from that. And the surgery and my health issues is actually what pushed me to start doing the show as a primary method of income, thanks to Patreon. And you guys, of course, have been supporting me ever since. So, I've been able to move forward with that. Let's see, I have moved in the last 6 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 times. I've moved 6 times in the last 6 years. Or 5. I'm not actually 100% on that, but it's a minimum of 5. Yeah. So I'm just looking at the thing here. Mass Effect 3, the WoW lore run. That's pretty recent. Mass Effect 3, StarCraft lore run, which is awesome. FF Ruminations, hell yeah. FF7 Rumination, the Dragon Age lore run. What else we got here? The KOTOR lore run, yep. 2 years ago, around the time of that. Chat's scrolling, oh god! There we go. Chat's scrolling. The KOTOR lore run. Mass Effect 3 again, FF Ruminations, I'm hearing a pattern here. There's the Babylon 5 thing, that's from Larian. Hey, Omni. Oh god, I remember that Selder. StarCraft lore run, of course. And apparently Darkrai found me through the Star Wars Ruminations. And you're welcome, and thank you for being with me for all this time, Darkrai. Go to sleep, Permeus. Go to sleep. Original FF Ruminations in the cube. Those terrible things. I've so been debating getting rid of those old videos. They're so crap. They are such garbage. All the Bravest Lamentation. Kai Snow is gone, of course. Tokyo Vampire started with the old FF lore run back when I was just recovering from surgery. Cloku, I'm not sure how to say that. Started with my Diablo 1 Rumination. God, I forgot about that. They're garbage! They're so garbage! My old videos are crap! Mario Rabbids, well, if you check my website, you'll find the answer to that question. Keep them unlisted. I should do that. That's actually not a bad idea. Just keep them unlisted. I don't want a new viewer showing up and being like, what is this jackass? Although, in fairness, if anybody's going to poke into my show, statistically speaking, only less than 1% of them will actually give a crap about the kind of content I produce. What else? Redoing the old Ruminations is something that actually is on the table. Some year. Some year. Need to conquer the world. That's what I need to do. I need to go conquer the world. What? If you think about it logically, conquering the world is the best possible circumstance to allow me to do what I want to do with the show. So Quadzilla joined me for the FF lore run just in the last month. Scotty Good joined me in the last couple of months. 4 months, excuse me. I'm surprised how many new viewers we have here. By the way, I suppose while we're talking about the show, for those of you not aware, we will be starting the Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine Ruminations on October 30th and October 31st, respectively. So, hoip? Anybody? I mean, I'm hoiped. I'm actually frickin' terrified. Do you know how much... It's going to be a lot more effort and work going through TNG than it is going through anything else I've gone through thus far. There is a monumental amount of information when it comes to TNG, and I'm going to have to sift through all of it. But it'll be nice to do it. I've actually been This is not a joke. Fun fact. I'll talk about this when we get there, too. I have actually been putting off rewatching TNG for those ruminations. Now, that may sound like... Okay, and... I know when I'm recording it. I have no idea when it's going live, Roximus. September 5th. So you might be like, well, of course you're putting off rewatching TNG for the ruminations. That makes sense. You want to go through it through analysis mode. Let me explain how long I've been putting off going through TNG. When I started doing the Voyager ruminations, as in when I was still recording it in a basement in order to try and get away from all the noise pollution of the people walking around, I was like, you know what? I want to rewatch TNG. And I started rewatching TNG, and I got to, I don't know, like episode 10 or so. Excuse me, I got to about episode 10 of season 1. I was like, wait. Someday I'm going to do a rumination on the TNG series, if all goes well. So, I better not watch those so that I can go ahead and get to that point. That was like 5 years ago, I think, at this point. 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while. So I've been putting off rewatching TNG for a minimum of 4 years for the sake of the ruminations that are starting this October. Anyways. Yeah, by the way, some people have asked why the heck let's go ahead and get some trivia out. So why was I recording in a basement? Obviously, that was a huge mistake in retrospect, but at the time I wasn't doing this to make a show. I was just doing it for fun because some people wanted to watch my thoughts about Voyager and video games and all that stuff. So I was getting zero money out of the show back then. It was purely a hobby. So I didn't really care about the marketing aspects of it, you know what I mean? I didn't care if anybody watched it, per se. I was just tossing out my thoughts and ruminations on the series. It's one of the reasons why I was totally okay with just sitting there in front of a chair, curled up in a blanket because it was cold, you know, when the heater was broken or whatever, or when it was the middle of winter. Because I didn't care what I looked like. Why would I? It's not like this is going to become my job or anything. Anyways, so I kind of already gave away the reason, but I didn't have a lot of options. Obviously, my health was nosediving, so getting another job wasn't really all that feasible at the time. I did make a few efforts, and none of those succeeded at getting a new job, and so I was just kind of limping forward on unemployment for a bit before it got to the point where I literally couldn't support myself, and that's when my sister actually pretty much picked me up and dragged me screaming so I could live with her so she could take care of me right before the surgery. Literally a month before the surgery happened. Anyway, so I didn't have a lot of options for where to record. It was either do it in the basement, because noise pollution, do it with lots of people talking and having the TV going and dogs barking, all sorts of stuff in the background, or like go to the library, which was not something I really wanted to do, is go to a library and start talking like this in the library in front of everyone. I also considered going to the local, what's the name of that place? Oh god, I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden. It's like a bagel place that also sells sandwiches, and they've got like free Wi-Fi. Oh god, what's the name of that place? Anyways, I considered going to one of those places and just recording there as well, but again, the problem of me being the noise pollution. Panera, thank you, Panera Bread. I was thinking about going to the local Panera and recording there, but again, that would be an issue with me creating noise pollution just like it would at the library. So basically, my options were don't record or record in the basement, and that was it. We also were pretty near to a highway, so outside wasn't really an option either. So yeah, it was basement or nothing. So I recorded in the basement. It didn't really mean much to me. And yeah, so my health absolutely nosedived. It got to the point, I don't know, I actually was streaming back then. And some people, I just want to make this clear, some people feel guilty about the fact that I was streaming in such colossal pain, but let me make this 100% clear. The reason I was streaming is it was the only thing I could do. Like, I was in so much pain all the time, awake or asleep, that I was having trouble functioning as an individual, as a sapient, sentient being. And so streaming was the only thing I could really actually do to try and keep my mind off of things. And every now and again, the pain would get too bad, and I just couldn't function anymore. So I had to stop. But that's one of the reasons why I was streaming. That's one of the reasons I was GMing. That's one of the reasons I was recording then. And then, of course, so yeah, my health absolutely nosedived. I actually spent several days in bed. That may not sound like a lot, but I mean legitimately, I just didn't leave my bed for several days in a row. And that's pretty much the time at which my sister said, all right, enough. and flew out to where I was. No details. Flew out to where I was, and hired the U-Haul, and was like, we're going. And I packed what I had. Packed everything I had onto the U-Haul. Drove out there. Nearly had an accident on the way there, actually. It was the only... It's funny because I was running on 3 days without sleep when we were doing the drive, which was about an 8-hour drive, something like that, 8 or 9 hours. We didn't stop. It was an 8 or 9 hour solid stretch. The one and only time I almost had an accident was really early on. So I want you to picture, road and then cliff, chasm, if you will, and then road. So there's a bridge going across it, right? So the road goes like this, okay? But the edges of the bridge, the structure, the skeleton of the bridge is like here. So the road goes out to here, but the bridge is like this. You with me so far? So I was over here in the right-hand lane, just a little bit too far to the right. And I came within probably about 15 or 20 feet of just slamming into the bridge full on in a U-Haul. Or maybe in my car. No, I was in the car at that point in time. We switched who was driving what. So, didn't do it. Car's fine. It's the same car I'm driving to this day. But, okay, I'm awake. I stayed awake the rest of the trip. Made it all the way here. Actually, not here. That was a few hundred miles that way. Got moved in. Passed out. Completely passed out. Slept for like 18 hours. As soon as I got there. And I was really tired. But I just want to share. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I be this personal? Just talking about what's been happening the last 6 years of my life here. So it's really hard for me to sleep. I have a form of insomnia. I forget which. It's something I've had since I was, a teenager. It's very old. But it's very difficult for me to fall asleep, and it's very difficult for me to stay asleep. So usually I need very specific circumstance. I need white noise, I need darkness, and I need a certain comfort level, and it can't be too hot. And I know that sounds horrible, but if it's too hot, if there's no white noise, or if it's not dark enough, I just lay there and I can't fall asleep, right? It's too difficult for me to sleep. I say that to try and get across the point that, so I get to my sister's house, it's like morning, it's like 11 a.m., something like that. Sun's up, and we pull the U-Haul up, and I'm like, okay. And the first thing in my mind, see, I'm kind of a workaholic. I get that from my mom, Lore Mom. I am a huge workaholic. You probably never noticed by the fact that I spend like 15 hours a day working, 7 days a week. But this has been true my whole life. This is nothing new. It's not just the show and my passion for the show. I am a huge workaholic. So as soon as we drove in with the U-Haul, my first thought was, all right, let's empty the U-Haul. Let's get everything out of the U-Haul. Let's unload. And Sis is like, smack. No. Come on in. And that was actually the first time I met my niece. That was the first time I met Minnie-Zan, because she had been born just a few months prior to me moving out there. So I got to see her when she was still, And was the most amazing thing ever. Still true. Still true to this day. And so, I held her, and she immediately was like, yeah, that was awesome. I don't have words. Anybody who's actually has been around young kids, or been an uncle, or been an aunt, or been a mother, or been a father, probably knows exactly what I mean. It was amazing. So she's like, fell asleep in my arms. And then she drags me upstairs and puts me in the guest room where there happens to be a guest bed. And she's like, here, lay down. And I'm like, okay. And I lay down on a small bed that's not very comfortable with no coverings. Like, you probably can't tell, I actually have blackout curtains over my windows. Partially for the lighting for the show, but mostly to help me sleep at night. So no blackout curtains, no white noise, broad daylight, and on a bed I've never been on before with only a single pillow. Usually I sleep with 3. Single pillow, and I just conk out. That's how tired I was. That's how completely exhausted I was. And I fell asleep for 18 hours, which, again, is kind of insane. It just gets across how tired I was. So I finally get up, and what's sad is I just realized I don't think anybody in chat, except Kay, knows about this. But when I got up, this was pretty soon after my birthday that particular year. And so I woke up, and Sis is like, come on, come on. And she takes me into what is going to be my room. And there's some presents there for my birthday. And they were from Zeiss. Anybody remember Zeiss? Zeiss, Coulson, Guido. I don't know if Kay was involved in this. I believe Rory was involved in this as well. I don't remember who else was actually involved in this. It was my the people who were playing in my Primus campaign. And they had bought me... In fact, you know what? Here. Just give me a second. I know where they are. Ugh. There we go. Sorry. I had to unearth them. So they had bought me this. I don't know if you can see it right now. I'm trying to hold the shield up. There we go. So they bought me this Master Sword. Some of you have seen this before. I've used it on camera more than once. It's actually metal. It's actually awesome. Yeah, there we go. Nope, 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 nope. There we go. Okay, no. And this. This is ceramic, I believe, and some metal. It's not fully assembled right now, so it's mostly a decorative thing at the moment. So they had bought me this for my birthday, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. As you can see, I still have them. One of these days, I hope to actually mount the suckers, but that would require having my own place, so I'm still working on that. So that was awesome. They had all pitched in on that. So I started settling in, started doing the show again, started looking for a job, of course. Did a couple of things to try and fix my health up, but nothing was really working, and I was still having these nightmarish pain attacks. Until one day, I remembered it was an evening. You know, the sun was still just starting to set. And I couldn't get out of bed. And my memories of that event are not super clear because I was kind of drifting in and out of consciousness from the amount of pain I was in. And what I know is that Sis came in and because she heard me from upstairs, she heard me moaning in pain. And I was like, oh my God, what's wrong? And had to literally... That was actually never my mushroom, Bullwolf Alex, but she still has that, yes. So Sis had to actually literally physically carry me, because I was incapable of walking, down the stairs, out into the car. We drove to the urgent care center. Now, forgive me for those of you who've heard this story, but so we go into the urgent care center, and they look at me and they say, oh, something's wrong with your such and such. I don't remember what they said. They were like, hey, oh, Third was involved in that too, of course. I can't believe I forgot Third. Yeah, Third was involved in that as well. And Tabrin, also known as Permius. So, you know, I was... They diagnosed me incorrectly. To be honest, I don't even remember what they diagnosed me with, but it was wrong, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, sure. And so they gave me a scheduled whatever. Oh yeah, Javan was in on that too. They gave me a scheduled whatever in order to go to the nearby hospital and get a scan. So, a couple days pass. You know, they give me some hydrocodone in order to function, and drive me out there, drive me to the hospital. And I go in, and I'm waiting there in the room, and I'm in pretty bad shape. I mean, I'm capable of walking on my own, obviously, but I'm struggling. Nice nurse comes out. She says to me, all right, so here's the procedure. We're going to need you to drink this such and such, and it'll fill your intestines with something that'll reflect off of the scanning machine, right? I forget all the names, forgive me, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You drink something that makes it easier to scan specific parts of the body. So I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And she's like, so as I'm taking the drink, she's like, all right, can you describe your pain to me? So I start describing it to him, and she stops me from drinking. She's like, hang on. That sounds more like something in the kidneys. And I'm like, well, I don't know. How would I know? She's like, well, hang on. Why don't we... Tell me, have you been having... And then she like, did you have this symptom? Did you have this symptom? Did you have this symptom? And I said, no, I haven't had any of those symptoms. So she thinks about it for a moment. She says, okay, we have you scheduled for a such and such scan, but we're going to do a completely separate scan. And I'm like, okay. So they take me in, and they give me some fairly standard x-rays instead of whatever it was they were going to do. So I go in, take the x-rays, and then I can't leave until they talk to me, because they're going to get the results within a few minutes. So I'm just sitting there in pain in the hospital waiting room, just, come on. Come on. I remember being really messed up at that point in time mentally and emotionally, like scared, you know. Because I'm just sitting there in pain, just waiting for this. Just come on. Finally, the phone rings, and the nurse there says, like, you know, Mr. Lorerunner? Because that's totally what she said. I'm like, yeah, sure, what's up? So I go, and she hands me the phone, and it's the doctor who's actually looking at the x-ray scan. And the first thing, I'll never forget this, the first thing out of his mouth is, oh my god, are you okay? Something you never want to hear from your doctor. Oh my god, are you all right? And I'm like, I'm sorry. What do you mean? So this is when I found out where all my health problems have been coming from. So I had 30 plus kidney stones in my left kidney, along with a kidney stone about that big in my left kidney. Here, I'll put it up to my head for reference. This probably doesn't look all that large. It's about the size of my eyeball, give or take. So that was causing pretty much all of my health issues, because my immune system was just not working, and I wasn't flushing anything. So anytime anything happened, I would get sick from it. You know, most people, you get a little bit of scratch at the back of the throat, no big deal. Anyone remember my lesion issues that I used to have in the back of my throat? Those were caused because my body couldn't deal with something like, a little bit of acid, like from, say, a Coca-Cola. I couldn't drink Coca-Cola because it would literally burn my throat, and my throat couldn't deal with it because my kidney wasn't working right. Make sense? So all of this was all being caused by this one stopgap. So they pretty much emergency are like, okay, we need to deal with this. We need to deal with this right now. And I'm like, okay. So they get me in to talk to a nice gentleman. Again, I'm not going to name names. He was a really great guy. He was very personable and very professional. I don't know about you guys, coming from, medical background, coming from half my family being in the medical industry, I prefer very professional people. I mean, I don't mind you being personable, but I prefer someone who comes across as, we're going to do this, this is how we're going to do this, this is exactly what I do. That kind of confidence is more important to me than someone who's like, hey, so let's soften the blow to you. No, this guy came right up to me and said, all right, here's the deal. This is a really bad situation. We cannot do the vibration or whatever thing. I forget what it's called, but you know what I mean. When you just vibrate the kidney stones with sonic and then let them, it's an outpatient procedure. I forget what it's called. Can't do that. There's too many. It might literally shred your kidney stone. And we need to get this done within this week. And I'm like, why? So this is not actually a joke. And I feel weird saying this, but according to the gentleman, the surgeon, and the nurses involved, I probably shouldn't have been alive. I was in a situation in which, if they were to diagnose it, they would say, death is possible any minute. Because what would have happened, what was in threat of happening, is the kidney stones could have shredded my kidney. And if they had done, I would have bled out internally before they could have done anything about it. So for example, if I'm just home and all of a sudden, there's something goes wrong and there's a shred, and that's the end of my left kidney, I will die before I reach the hospital. That was the circumstance I was in at that point in time. So they're like, we're pushing this up. We're getting you into surgery like right fricking now. We're dealing with this. They had to do invasive surgery, which means, for those who don't know what that means they had to bring me in, put me under, and cut me open in order to get to the kidney stone and get to the problems. Fun stuff. So this is the serious health issues that I have referenced many times, for those of you not aware of all the specifics. My dad, who was in Florida at the time, traveled God, I think like 800 miles or whatever it is. Flew out just to be with me, just to be there with me for the surgery. No other reason. He just wanted to be there for me because I was freaking out a little bit. I actually remember when he first came up and we went out to a dinner place, and I wasn't really capable of eating that much at that point in history, but you know, he was eating, and I just started crying. I just started breaking down, sobbing because I was so scared, and I was in so much pain, and I had been in so much pain for, at this point, about 11 months. I had been just in non-stop pain because of this kidney stone issue. So went in for the surgery. Surgery went perfectly. No issues on the surgery. I'll never forget sitting there laying on the bed waiting to be taken in, staring at the lights, wondering if I was going to die. It's a weird thought when you just sit there and you're like, yeah, I might literally die because of complications during this surgery, because of just how bad the situation was. But I didn't, obviously. I mean, I'm not undead yet. I am still talking to you. You know, they took me in, they did it. It was a pretty bad recovery, too. So they had to do so much and were so careful about it that I had to be on oxycodone for a while and then hydrocodone, heavily dosed after that. And I had to have... This sounds weird to describe. I had a pipe in my back that was connected to my kidney stones so that I could... that was how I went to the bathroom. Because my body was so incapable of functioning normally after the level of surgery I went in. And so I had a pipe just in my back at all times, and I had this bag that I just kind of carried around with me at all times. Let me tell you, trying to sleep with that thing in was insane. So it's just like, oh my god. Okay. There was actually a second complication. After that, they tried to take it out, and there was I don't actually remember the specifics. The surgeon told me everything, but basically something happened, and so when they removed the pipe, my kidney stone didn't start working again. So I basically just had no kidney stone functioning, and I couldn't go to the bathroom, so it was just kind of pooling in my organs, and I was so nauseous. I was so nauseous that I was literally... on the ride to the hospital the next day, we had to stop 1, 2, 3 times on the way to... It was like a 4-mile trip, by the way. 3 times we had to stop on the way for me to get to the side of the road and throw up. I was so nauseous from it. When we got to the surgeon's place, I had to be physically dragged out of the car because I was so dizzy from all of this, and I had to be literally laid down in a gurney and carried in order to be pulled in, and they had to roll me over and vacuum drain everything out and seal me back up, and then put the hose back in, and then I had to live with the hose and the pipe. The pipe, I should call it thing. It's this huge thing. The pipe and the bag again for like another week before they finally took it out, and I was fine. Yeah, that was fun. But that was actually the end of my health troubles. Everything after that was just recovery, which was good, which was great actually. You know, that it finally got done. It finally got dealt with. I had a little bit of a hospital bill. Some of you may have remember I was basically saying, you know, at the time my motivation for really pushing the show was literally, I need some kind of income and I can barely function, so I need to pay off this hospital bill. So for a while there, people were like, what am I donating for your show? Well, to pay off my hospital bills. I did finally pay that off. I did completely pay that off, so that was awesome. It took everything I had. In fact, I actually kind of nuked my 401k in order to finally nuke the rest of it. But, yeah, that was fun. So that was dealt with. Then we moved. There were some issues. Didn't really matter. We moved. And it was me and Mini Zan and Zan for a while there, just the 3 of us. And Zan was working 2 jobs at the time for reasons I'm not going to get into. She was basically going to start working on what would eventually be her schooling career, which she has now started. So it was just me and Mini Zan. So I was trying to keep up with the show while still kind of recovering. But this is going to sound weird. Those are like the best months of my life right there, because I was pretty much the full-time caretaker of Mini Zan for several months. and it was awesome. It was tiring, and it was wearying, and it was like I was constantly tired, and I was barely keeping up, and I had no energy, and it was some of the most awesome months in my life. It was fantastic. I loved taking care of her and being, you know, Uncle Lore for that period of time. And taught me a lot about myself, actually, because I never really actually had that opportunity before then. Yeah, pretty much, you girl, pretty much. That's also when we discovered that she really likes Animaniacs. Go figure. She has good taste. She has good taste. So then we moved again. The next move was precipitated by some garbage. I'm not going to bore you guys with it. All I'm going to say is that there was some drama. And so there was some drama, so we had to move again in order to... Well, actually, that's not really correct. That slants it in a wrong direction. We were moving anyways, then some drama happened, so then we moved completely irrelevant of the drama. It was just, we pushed up the date we were moving. Make sense? The court case. You know what? I feel comfortable saying that the court case is completely done. For those of you aware of that, for those of you who don't, I'm not going to answer any questions about it. For reasons I'm not going to go into unless you really, really want me to. But the court case is done. I am innocent. I am not guilty. And that's good enough for me. So after the drama with that, we ended up moving effectively a second to last time to the place we lived at right up there, about 30 minutes that way. And it was a nice place. Everything was good. We just kind of settled in, and I started really... if you're remembering, that's when the show really, really started pushing. And... Oh yeah, it's done. I'm sorry. For those of you aware, yes, it's been done for over a year. The court case has been concluded and done for over a year. We're done with that. That is done and gone. So... You know what? I feel okay. I feel okay discussing it. It's been over a year. Let me start by saying that I'm not going to give any details, and I'm going to explain why, okay? I'm going to explain why. There are two reasons. Reason number one is fear, okay? I know a lot of you don't actually know how the legal system actually works here in the States. Let me go ahead and tell you that I have learned a great deal about our vengeance system here in the States. I have learned a tremendous amount about the specifics and about the reasons why it works the way it works. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay? I'm not going to discuss details, but I am to this day afraid of the possibility of repercussions for discussing this matter. Let me give you like a passive example of why, because I've thought about this. If I were to discuss anything that happened to me during that period of time, even without mentioning where, even without mentioning who or why or what, even if I was just to talk about it in a passive tone, it could be inferred by certain parties that I am being accusatory with stating what actually happened to me, and therefore it could be leveled as a threat, which would require legal reprisal, etc., etc. So I can't even passively, in past tense, now that it's over 2 years since this all really happened, I can't actually talk about any of this. Make sense? So I suppose this is the first explanation for why I've never gone forward and just did a video saying, hey, here's what's happening. Because I was afraid. First of all, I couldn't during the court case. For those of you not aware, while you're in an active court battle, you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it to anyone. I think there were a grand total of 3 people who in total knew what was going on, and most of those people were personally involved in it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Legal Dino is correct. Any lawyer will tell you, you don't talk about it, even after it's done, because of the possibility of retaliation. So, that was the first reason why I've never actually sat forward and done a video like I'm doing right now, saying what happened. Can't, right? Fear. You with me? Second reason is pain. Again, I cannot discuss details, but if you were to look at someone like me, who I am and who I am as an individual, who I am as a person, There's literally nothing worse that I could go through than what I went through. Nothing. Like, we all joke, right? Like, oh man, it's horrible being, you know, all the stuff that happened in Type 0 and Final Fantasy 15. That's fantasy. Here in reality land, I cannot think of something worse than what I went through. And I don't like thinking about it. I know, weird, but I don't. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like remembering it. I don't like recalling Kefka. I don't like remembering it. It was a really, really bad time. And so those are the two reasons. Those are the two reasons that I didn't come forward and talk about it, because I was afraid because of legal issues and because it hurt too much to really talk about it. And I've actually wanted, this is funny, I've actually wanted to sit down in front of a camera and say that for a long time, and I've always been too afraid and too hurt to do so. So for those of you who knew what was happening or knew what I went through, that's why I've never sat down and actually explained it. That's why I've never sat down and gone into the whole details of it. Which, you know what, while I'm here, I have two things to say to those of you who were aware, and to those of you who kept supporting me while I was going through that legal battle. First of all, I want to say thank you for continuing to support me financially. As you are aware, or maybe you're not aware, there's a lot of legal fees that are involved in a case battle. I'm not comfortable discussing numbers. It went into the 6-digit range. That's all you really think. I think that's really all that needs to be said there. So you guys continuing to support me while I was struggling to put out videos during that time really, 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 literally, physically helped me to remain solvent and to be able to defend myself. So thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support while I was going through that crap. It was a mess. And because of you, and because of my dad, and because of my grandma, and because of my mom, and like 7 people, actually probably more like 20 people, never mind all of you guys. I don't even know how many of you specifically kept with me, but all of you who kept with me helped me to get through it. Which brings me to my second point. I don't want to disagree with this. I want this to be clear. Fun fact. All of my friends and all my family, my close family, the people I consider my family, you know, regardless of blood. I actually have a huge blood family, but, you know, my family, nobody doubted my innocence for a second. Of course they didn't, right? I mean, duh. Nobody doubted my innocence for a second. And that was awesome. And it was very helpful to know that nobody was like, oh my God, maybe he did. But to know that people who've never met me before, you guys, to know that some of you, not all of you, I know I lost some viewers among this, and I understand why, but to know that some of you remain supportive of me, to know that some of you believe that I was innocent, helped. Legitimately helped. To know that some of you guys out there were willing to continue to support me and willing to help me get through that from a moral perspective, from a, you know, maybe, I don't know, I'm losing my words. It meant something. It meant something, and that was awesome that you have my back like that. So I just wanted to say thank you for having my back like that. So. So anyways, Legal Dino. If you go to Patreon takes about 10% off the top. If you go through Twitch, Twitch takes 50%, but if you have Twitch Prime, then it's free for you. So it's 50% for free. So, you know, that's the financial side of that. No, I remember Darkrai. Several people PM'd me on the forums shortly afterwards. I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about what I want to talk about. I can't discuss it. I'm sorry, guys. I was just about to say something. I was like, no, I can't say that. But yeah, I made it through it. 9 months. I went through. I went through 9 months of that. It's actually funny because when I got out of the courtroom, oh my God, I'm sorry. When I got out of the courtroom, the second thing on my mind, it wasn't the first. The first thing on my mind was to give my mom and dad a big hug. The second thing on my mind was to sit down in front of the camera I basically tell you guys what I'm telling you right now. I'm dead serious. It's kind of in my nature to be open and honest. I think you guys have probably noticed that by now. And I was actually had a long discussion with my lawyer, and he basically said, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Why?" And he explained everything that I now know that I have just tried to explain to you. So I kept shut about it. If anybody's wondering, I've been quiet about it for like 2+ years now. That's why I have been so quiet about it. We went to sushi the night the case was over. We went to get sushi. Me and Mom and Gary. And it was awesome. I remember because there was still just a little bit of doubt because the legal system is garbage. I'm free to say that. The legal system is garbage. So there was still a little bit of doubt that it might have been, that they might have tried to come after me for something else. But while I was at the sushi place, I had my phone, and I got a text from my lawyer. And the lawyer basically said, "We're done." And my reaction was basically just, I'm not even kidding. My reaction was to melt in my chair. You can ask Lore Mom or Gary. I melted in my chair. I was like, oh my god, the relief. I've never felt like that in my whole life up to that moment. The sheer relief that it was done. Enjoy. I was shaking. So, hang on, I need to blow my nose. Yeah, it was like taking a boat off my back. That's exactly what it felt like. That night, I went and bought tickets to fly home. Packed all my stuff up. FedExed my way back. Oh my god. Got back. Slept in my own bed. That bed right there. I slept in that bed instead of a piece of plastic. You want to know something really stupid? This is 100% true. Every night, 100% of the nights since then, it's been over a year now, 100% of the nights since I've gotten back, as I've laid down in my bed, this includes last night, I have quietly said thank you for this bed. Thank you for the fact that I get to sleep in my bed tonight. So what happened next? Then we finished the WoW lore run. Had to finish that. Once the WoW lore run was done, I kind of took a break from lore runs in general. Tried to refocus my efforts, really pushing the show, really trying to move it forward. The legal case, well, I shouldn't say that. It is my assumption, based on speculation, based on circumstances, that I've never really been able to take off the way I wanted to because of the fact that some of this stuff still happened. Some of this stuff happened in the past, and therefore, as a consequence of certain actions which may or may not be related to the legal case in the past, the show hasn't been able to take off the way it did. To yesterday, as of yesterday, I still get people occasionally who try to slander me, who try to link something or share something about that case with a pure intent to try and make it so that people stop watching me, so that people stop being my patron, and for no other reason, purely malicious intent. That's it's interesting. Every time that happens, I'm just like, it's one of the reasons this has been on my mind recently, because this literally happened yesterday. Screw those guys. Yeah, I actually shared this with Roximus, who's been aware of this for a while. I shared this with Roximus. I shared this with a couple of the people who are aware of it. somewhere along the line, I have to decide to stop letting them hurt me, you know? So here's hoping we're there. Who knows why anyone does anything? What Formosan says is probably true. But it doesn't matter. We did it. We did it. We made it through it. I am here, 6 years later. Ironically, I don't have much news to share about my life for the last year because the last year's been really normal. I spent most of last year kind of burning myself out because I was taking care of Minizan pretty much, I guess, part-time, but, 3 days a week. And then at the end of that, that is actually terminated now, so it's actually a good thing. As much as I absolutely adore and love my niece, and I love taking care of her, I just don't have the energy to work full-time and take care of her part-time like that. I wish I did. I wish I had the energy to do that. So that was awesome and tiring at the same time. It's one of the reasons, it was one of the contributing factors to why I wasn't doing lore runs for so long, is because I was watching her, 3 days a week. And so after, going through all that, she started school now. It's kind of awesome. She started school, and it's her first time going to school ever. So, she's really excited about it. She's learning about letters, writing, basic stuff like that. But it's pretty awesome. Last time I took care of her, which was just last week, actually, I was able to be like, all right, let's draw your name. She's like, and she got it almost completely right. She messed up one letter of her name. And so she only messed up one letter, and when we started teaching her about how to, fold her own laundry, and we made it into a game because I like making chores into games. I do that for myself, but why not do it for her too? And now I gotta let the dog out. I'll be right back. So anyways, also Grunge, you didn't have to share that, but thank you for doing so. I totally get you on that. Well, you don't like Oblivion, Jonko? You don't think it's the best Elder Scrolls game? So anyways, why don't we talk about video games? Who's with me? Geek culture, video games? I actually have one last thing to share. I'm sorry. For the last, I don't know how long it's been at this point. It's been over a year. For the last year plus, my biggest concern in life has been, oh my god, I gotta renew the tags in the car. Oh man, I gotta think about what I'm gonna eat tomorrow. Oh gosh, I really need to, consider what I'm gonna do for Sunday's stream. And you know what? That's actually really, really amazing. To have to worry about such inconsequential things. I would not wish anything that I have been through on anyone else for any reason. Ever. But I cannot tell you how much that has changed my perspective in being grateful for mundane troubles. So, for those of you not aware, tomorrow we're going to be doing the Mario Kingdom Battle thing on the Switch. I'm actually really looking forward to that. I hope it's good. Most of the reviews I've seen thus far have been saying, man, these rabbits are amazing, but the rest of the game's crap. And that's funny because I don't actually like rabbit humor at all. For the same reason I don't like, the minion humor. You know the minions, right? it's just not my humor style. It's just not something I find funny. So I'm curious if this is going to be like an awesome game with humor that makes me go ugh constantly. I suppose we'll find out. See you around, Roximus. Yeah, it's the Mario XCOM game. We're going to be doing a premiere run of it tomorrow. Some people might be wondering why we're not doing a premiere run of it today. That's because, and I just got a new patron, Legal Dino. Thank you, Legal Dino, for being my patron. It'll be showing up today. But the thing is, our mail people don't show up until like 4 or 5 in the evening. I'm not kidding. So I will get it today, but I can't. I mean, I could stream it for like a couple hours tonight, but that's it. So we'll be streaming that tomorrow. No, I understand, Legal Dino. I really do. I probably lost a lot of viewers during that period of time. And I definitely lost a lot of patrons. I know that for a fact, because I track those figures. What else we got here? So then we're going to be doing, like I said, we're going to be finishing up Darksiders, Dark Saints Row, Valkyria Chronicles. I suppose it's a good time as any to mention, anybody who's interested in participating in the Lorerunner Theater, I have 2 requirements. They're very simple. First of all, you have to have a decent mic. You don't have to have a decent quality one like mine, but you have to have at least a mic that's not garbage, That's not acceptable, right? But you have to have a decent mic, and you have to be reliable. Now, that reliability is the most important part to me, because, like, for example, let me give you just a direct example. There's a character called Gold Bob in Paper Mario 2. Now, he had a couple of lines in Chapter 3, and Chapter 5, and Chapter 6, and Chapter 7, and Chapter 8. Now, he was a relatively minor character, but he was a recurring character, and I'm one of those people who agrees to the idea that you always use the same voice actor for the character, at least as much as you're able to. So in other words, if you want to volunteer for Lorerunner Theater, that's awesome. All I request is that you be the kind of person who is willing to keep coming back and keep voicing the same character in the future. Vampire Bloodlines? I don't even know what Vampire Bloodlines is. Hang on, let me look up Vampire Bloodlines to figure out what that is. Oh, that's Vampire the Masquerade. Duh. Yeah, no, I did a rumination on Vampire the Masquerade some months ago. Couldn't even think of the game. I don't think of it as Bloodlines. I think of it as Vampire the Masquerade, the game. So. Well, I mean, you could suck Sildeer. It's okay. I mean, Roximus. Oh, he's not here. I can't make fun of him. Damn it. Yes, you can't be an adult in Peanuts, Darkrai. What in the world is going on in my background here? Oh, it's because I have Darksiders 3 up. Or Darksiders 1, excuse me. Not Darksiders 3. Darksiders 1. Different thing. I guess actually that's all I have to talk about. I just wanted to say, it's been an awesome 6 years. Actually, that's not true. It's been an absolutely garbage 5 years and a pretty awesome 1 year. My life has sucked until about last year, but it's been pretty awesome since last year. So, look, these people they're fine. Grunge, they're fine. They're fine. Hey, guys! Guys! Hey, stop. They're not listening to me. Guys, stop running into each other. You! Whatever. They don't matter. Hello, Yorix. What's up? Welcome to my 6th anniversary stream. Since I do... yes, this is Witcher 3. Most of my backgrounds nowadays are Witcher 3. I actually had another background. Hang on, I want to show you this really quick. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, did I already delete it? I might have already deleted it. Hang on. Nope, I didn't delete it. We're good, we're good. So this is another background I got together. Now, I'm actually really happy with this one, sort of. See, here, let me push it. Well, I guess I could just leave it there. But, this is another background that I was going to use. And I'm really happy with the angle and with the background, I love the idea of, like, we've got some burning stuff, which will go away when it comes daytime. We've got a great view of the sunrise and sunset when that happens. We've got the cityscape over there. Here, let me push it to the front so you can really see what I'm talking about. There it is. So you can really see that. I love this. I love this little thing, right? Great background. I'm probably going to get rid of this because... Hang on, it's a 2.5-hour video. I got to skip forward a little bit. The rain looks perfect here. Ah, here we go. This is why. So there's this guy, right? And he's here for like 10 minutes, I think? Something like that. Seriously, he's just like hanging out. I don't know what he's doing, but he just stands there for a really, really long time. And I'm like, okay, like he's still there, he's still there, he's still there. Oh, he finally left. Yep. So then he finally lurches off. And it's just like, okay. So I'm like, well, I mean, maybe I can avoid that. Maybe I can ignore that. But then, if you can't tell, we're basically on a road here, is where I took the camera angle. So occasionally... Oh, God. Okay, there we go. And I'm really upset because I think this is a great camera angle if the people weren't in it. Frickin' people. And yes, by the way, vocal gratitude to Preacher for his assistance and all this. There's another one later. It's an old woman. And... Hey, he's back! He's back! Oh my god, he's here again! What is he doing? Anyways, there's an old woman at some point who just, like, shambles onto the right and then stops. I'm probably not going to find the exact spot. Again, this is a 2.5-hour video. But she shambles forward and then stops, like, right in front of the camera. So her face is basically right over where my shoulder would be. And then she just sits there and stares at the camera for several minutes. I'm probably not going to find it. It's such a shame, because this is a great angle. Here, check this out. Check out the sunrise in this. I'll go ahead and kind of fast move forward so you can see it, but this is the sunrise. Oh, here, I'll just speed it up. I just realized I can do that. There we go. That's still not fast enough forward. But, see, I'm actually going to have to go... I know, right? It's just like real life. Random people are like, hey, I'm on camera, hey. You think I'm joking, by the way? For those of you who know, I actually used to do a very little amount of work back in high school and just after high school in television productions, both for the school and for the local, the city television show, the city channel. And so one of the things I discovered during that time, and I'm not kidding you, is you go out there with a webcam, or not a webcam, sorry, with a camcorder, you know, big old thing on your shoulder. People notice and, like, stare at you. And the moment you turn in their direction, they're like, hi, wave, hey, it's a camera, I'm on camera, hey. And everybody does that. It's hysterical. Like, you just be walking down for, like, a candid... Like, say you're setting up for an intro for something. So you've got you're hanging it down below at about knee level. And so you're going for, like, a walking through a shopping mall kind of an area. And everyone's just like, oh, my God, look, I'm on camera. Oh, my God, I'm on camera. It's hysterical. I don't think I'm going to find the lady. Ah, well, I'll probably set up and do this one. Whoops, wrong button. Do this one again. And probably just do it a little bit more to the left so that I'm not on the road so you can't see the people. Because the idea... Here, I'll show you why this is kind of weird. Hang on. So the idea is these are for ruminations, right? Hang on. There we go. So, for example, if I was to be here, I'd be like, so blah, 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 and there's just some guy walking by, who I can't see, by the way. When I'm doing a rumination, I actually have my monitor blanked out so that I don't get reflections on my glasses to try and improve the quality of the video. So I don't see anything that's happening in my background. I can't react to it. So I'll just be talking normally while this guy's over here doing whatever the hell he's doing over there, like playing a flute or something. But yeah, I'll probably just record this again. The only problem with recording these is they require a huge amount of time in which I'm doing nothing on my computer. So it's very rare I have the time to actually sit down and record these. It's the only downside with my method. I got some good ones recently, though. Check it out. This is a new one. I'm rather pleased with this one. This is Kaer Morhen, if you're not aware. And this one, I love this one. This one's just phenomenal. We even have multiple weather patterns. The moon going back in the background there. Great lighting on a few scenes. I actually have a second Kaer Morhen one, which is this one. Some of you may remember this one. I was using a couple of these for the FF lore run. I'm really happy with the camera angle on this one. Just enough to get in the fire on the left there. And then, of course, you can still see the mountains in the distance. And as you can see, because we're so far in, the shadow of the wall itself, there it is. You can see it kind of slowly moving away as the sun creeps forward. But it's never fully in light, which is actually what I intended. And I really love the lighting on this one. I have none from Skellige yet. I haven't been able to find anything in Skellige that I actually enjoy. Oh, and of course, check this out. For those of you who've never seen it, hang on. Let me pull this to the front so you can see it. Watch the lantern on the left. Just watch it for a second. Or a minute. I'm not sure how long this will take. There you go. They even have a separate animation for the fire starting. It's really nice. Really happy with that one. What else we got lately? Oh yeah, of course, a lot of you probably remember this one. This one was kind of an accidental one. I was in a hurry, and I needed to go somewhere for like a couple hours. Thank you, Yorix. I had to go somewhere for a couple hours. So I was at a fast travel point. In fact, you can see the fast travel point on the right there. And I just stopped and recorded and walked away. This one, by coincidence, ended up being just beautiful. Beautiful shot of the sunset. Look at that. And then the sun slowly goes down. And then, later on, it starts raining and thundering. And so I've got this awesome thunderstorm on camera for this one, which is phenomenal looking. So this is one of those kind of just, whatever, and turned out fantastic without really planning. I'd love to take credit for it, but I can't. But I really like how this one turned out. And then we have another one which I got recently. This one I planned. You probably can't tell, but this is actually just a few feet away from the previous one. This is the one I really wanted to get last time. So, actually I have a method of ensuring no enemies attack. Thanks to console commands. This one's amazing, in my opinion. This one's phenomenal. This is probably my favorite one that I've done thus far. The sunset, the banner. Yeah, the two banners, actually, but the long banner. In fact, funny fact, I'll show you here. It actually does respond to wind effects, as you can see. So when the wind shifts, it shifts along with it. And it shifts throughout the course of the day, depending on the time of day and the weather. You can see in light weather, it's just kind of slowly flipping in there. And then it goes back to the right for evening. And then, yeah, it's awesome. I'm really, really happy with this one. Now, I wish I hadn't cut it off when I did, because there's this great storm that rolls in right towards the end here. But what are you going to do? And I think I have another... Oh, yeah. Wrong one. I also picked up this one recently. Now, I'm not super happy with this one, but I needed something for... So, when I think about backgrounds, I think about stuff that's relevant to the ruminations I'm doing. And not every rumination is about something that I really like, right? So I needed a background for something that I don't really like. And so I was trying to think of a swamp or something like that, but honestly, I couldn't find anything swamp-like that was really that good. So instead, this is actually in the swamp right here. I found this little ruined fort thing. You can see a little bit better when the sun comes out. Hang on, let me skip forward a bit. There we go. You can see a little bit better there. It's this ruined fort in the swamp. You can kind of see the swamp in the background there. And I figured this was a great one to have just kind of a ruins, overgrown with wildlife kind of a look. And I think this turned out rather nice. It's not nearly as pretty as the other ones, but it's really, there's some great textures on the trees, or the tree stumps right in front of me there. Some good stuff there. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I took forever setting up the exact camera angle on this one, though, because I wanted this lighting right here. And as you can see, I think I pulled it off pretty nicely. I'm pretty happy with that one. And then eventually the sun slowly sets, and fades away back into dark like that. Yeah, I put a lot of thought into my stuff. Of course, there's this one which everyone makes fun of. This is the one where the bear shows up. The bear qualifies as an NPC, not an enemy, so he just shows up and he's like, "Roar!" But if you can see, he's actually there. This is basically his spawn point. So he's just kind of rumbling in the background. I don't think the bear really distracts that much, though, so I'm okay with the bear being here. And I think this is a really good camera angle as well. I got plenty of grass, which is one of the things I wanted from this one. And great shot of the trees. This is actually in Skellige. This is the only Skellige one I have. I thought about it, Corrales, but ultimately it just doesn't look that interesting, even with proper lighting. Like, I've zoomed around a bit here. You know what? Hang on just a second. Let me exit Darksiders. Let me show off, guys, because I gotta show you this. Live background capturing. I'm gonna have to set this up because I don't have it set up on this OBS. There's chat. There's chat. Yeah, I was already starting work on the Darksiders. Rumination. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure I set a quick save at the next point where I want to record. I'm pretty sure. We'll see if I'm in the right spot. If not, I can just show off some of the ideas I've been having. Hey, Zero. The 6th anniversary of my show, Zero. 6 years ago today. Yep. So I want to get a spot here. There's actually 2 I want to get here. One is basically... where was it? It's like... I don't remember the exact angle I set up, and I'll probably finicky with it, because I'm finicky like that, but something like this, basically. A nice shot of the gardens there. And I also kind of want one right about here. Hang on, gotta center the camera a little bit here. There we go. Okay, I'm not getting it, but you get the idea. Something kind of like this, probably with those guys flanking on either side, that kind of a thing. See you around, Larian. I like both of these angles, and I've already fast-forwarded time a few times to see what the lighting's going to look like, so I'm rather happy with that. But I haven't found anywhere in Skellige, really. Although, I do... So, I'll actually show you where that other shot was while I'm here. I was actually thinking about something in the city, Leander, and that's not a bad idea. So, if you may actually recognize this is the one I was showing off earlier here. Right here. So what I'll probably do is I'll just shift it like this. Of course, I get rid of the flames that way, but not really anything for it. I could do that, maybe. But if I want the cityscape, like the edge of the city walls there, which is the main centerpiece of the shot, I'll probably do something closer to this. So there'll still be a little bit of people visible in the background, but I'll be able to get, you know, the primary shot I want, the water, the reflection of the water for the sunrise when it comes up, because it'll be coming up pretty much right in front of us. And the cityscape there. Now, the inn idea, it's not a bad idea. In fact, hang on. Where's that? Is that the inn? Where's that really big inn that's in town? I have to keep pulling up the map. As you can see, I have all the UI basically turned off, so it won't get in the way of the shot. Which means every now and again I have to be like, ugh. Is this it? Okay, this is the inn I was thinking of. Oh yeah, one other thing, for anybody trying to do something like this, pro tip, I guess. The game renders based on where you are facing. Not the camera, you. I discovered this pretty early on. Like, for example... If I was to go out into the woods and, like, face this way, and then do the camera and face this way, some of those trees will literally not be there because the game's like, well, no, he's facing this way, so I only need to render in that direction. So I try to always position Geralt himself in a way so he can basically see everything in the shot. And then set up the shot itself. Probably something like this, maybe? A little closer. Maybe like that? What do you think? Nice angled shot, pseudo-isometric. I guess this would be a diametric shot, actually. See you around, Kingdom. Did I already say that? Maybe that angle might be better? think that angle might be a little bit better. Oh, it is Leander, absolutely. Make sure I get the upper corner there so I can see that edge of things. I like that. I like this a lot. Yes, I do, Dakota. Yes, I use OBS to record. Yeah, no, I like this. I think I'm going to use this as one of my other ones. Actually, that's a good question. Hang on. Let me see if I can... Can I... What's the sit button? Never, that's not the sit button. Guys, what's the sit button? I don't want to knock anything over. It's not F. R, maybe? Can I not sit here? Help! What's the sit button? Maybe it's E? No, E's not doing it. I kind of like the idea of Geralt just sitting in the background in one of these, though. But it's not letting me sit anywhere. Shut up. Shut up. Oh, actually, that's a good point. It just occurred to me. I probably shouldn't sit down. Do you know why? Because the game plays voice files based on where you are. So every time someone wanders by me, someone will be like, "Greetings." I guess that doesn't matter that much. Because I'll have the audio muted. But, I mean, picture how many people are going to stop by and be like, "Hey!" as Geralt is sitting there. Just like, come on, leave me alone. But yeah, it does not want me to sit down here. Greetings! This is N. Ah, well. No sitting for me. So that in idea, that's a great idea. Thank you for that idea. Because I wanted a couple of cityscape. In fact, is this the market? No, this is the witch burning. Where's the market? Or is this the market? I also have a warp around mod, which helps tremendously for this kind of stuff. You may notice this is actually the tunnel that I recorded that earlier one from. Well, they're not actually witches, okay, but yes, you can totally watch them be burnt for no reason. By evil, ignorant people. This way?
Those hunters would burn a rainbow if they could. Now they've got their new king.
No, this isn't quite what I wanted. Yeah, this isn't quite what I wanted. Maybe I'll just roam around for a bit. Where is... I swore there was like a market somewhere that isn't the place where they burn people. Which is that. Maybe the docks? Maybe that's what I was thinking of. You'll notice by this point hardly anything is being rendered because I'm way over there, so the game's like, This is just baseline stuff that's rendered over here. Well, part of the reason I don't want to do more stuff in Tucson is I already have like 8 backgrounds just from Tucson. I mean, I could. I like the pop in on the shadows there. I kind of like the idea of getting one of the docks, though. The ships do not move, sadly. Something like this, maybe? Sun's going to be rising over that way. Maybe opposite. Piece of the ship literally not there. Something like this, maybe? That's a good question. Can I go back to the wedding even though I've completed Hearts of Stone? I kind of like this idea. Maybe a little bit more to the right. What do you think? So where's this lighthouse you were talking about? That's a good question, Little Billy. I'm not sure if I could teleport into Gontar O'Dim's realm. looking where this lighthouse is. Ah, there it is. So that's over here. I gotta be honest, so much of the terrain in this game is gorgeous that I try really hard not to just repeat myself. It's like, here's a beautiful vista of trees. Here's another beautiful vista of trees. You know? Oh, there it is. It's way over there. Hang on. I need to get a mod to increase my move speed. Yes, I do, actually, Zero Hunter. That would be the one you're listening to, Morrowind. Actually, I think you're listening to Oblivion. Is this it? Is this the one you meant? A lot of birds around here. We could get a good, like, relatively empty vista from this kind of a place. Yeah, let's see what kind of camera angles we can get. Now there's an interesting thought. No, probably not. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just realized I'm still recording. I'm sorry, YouTube viewers. Hang on. Pause. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joining them on YouTube. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. 6th anniversary. Woo! And I'm cutting off the recording now.